Okay, so picture this. Millions of people every single year walk the ancient marble streets of Ephesus. It's one of the most incredible archaeological sites on the entire planet. You see the Grand Library, the massive theater, and you can just imagine what life was like in the Roman Empire. But what if I told you the real power behind this city, the very reason it became a wonder of the world, is something most people miss? It's a goddess you think you know, but trust me, not like this. Right, so when you hear the name Artemis, what comes to mind? Probably the swift virgin huntress, right? Bow and arrow, twin sister of Apollo. Well, get ready for a surprise. Because in Ephesus, archaeologists found this statue. I mean, look at her. She's strange, she's powerful, and she is covered in symbols that have had scholars scratching their heads for centuries. This is the real queen of Ephesus. You see, to really get a feel for Ephesus, you first have to understand its goddess. And let me tell you, the Artemis they worshipped here was profoundly different from the one you know from all the Greek myths. So let's break it down. On one hand, you've got the Artemis we're all familiar with, goddess of the hunt, fiercely independent, a perpetual virgin. But the Ephesian Artemis, she was a whole different deal. She's what we call a syncretic deity, which is basically a powerful mashup of that Greek identity with a much older local Anatolian mother goddess. So she wasn't a huntress, she was the great mother, a massive symbol of fertility and the divine protector of the city itself. These statues are amazing. They're like history books carved right into stone. All their symbols tell a story that was built up over hundreds and hundreds of years. So, come on, let's decode some of the most fascinating and mysterious ones. The first thing everyone notices, you can't miss it, are all those round objects covering her torso. For centuries, this has been the central mystery of the goddess. So, really, what are they? And the honest answer is, we're still not totally sure. Scholars are debating this one like crazy. Are they breasts symbolizing nourishment? Could they be the testicles of bulls that were sacrificed to her? Some even think they could be bee eggs, or maybe even grapes or dates. But you know what? The specific object might not matter as much as what it all means. They all represent life, abundance, and the unstoppable fertility of the natural world. Now take a look at her crown. That's not just a fancy hat. It's actually a model of the city walls of Ephesus. This clearly symbolizes her most important job, being the divine protector of the city and all its people. And if you look at her lower body, it's covered with animals like lions and deer, showing she was the boss of the natural world. But one creature was extra special, the bee. The bee became a symbol for both the goddess and the city, and they even put it on their coins. Her priestesses were even known as the Melissae, which is just Greek for bees. Pretty cool, huh? So a goddess this powerful and this unique needed a home that was just as magnificent. And boy, did the people of Ephesus deliver. They built her a sanctuary so incredibly grand it became famous across the entire ancient world. This was the Artemision, the Temple of Artemis. It was so vast, so absolutely breathtaking, that it was named one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. And to give you some perspective, it was 4 times the size of the Parthenon in Athens. Just try to imagine standing in front of a building that colossal. I mean, the sheer scale of this project was just staggering. The final version of the temple, which was built around 323 BC, was over 425 feet long and made almost completely out of marble. It stood there for centuries, this amazing testament to the city's devotion, before it was finally destroyed by invading Goths back in 262 AD. For nearly 1,000 years, this temple was one of the most important destinations on the planet. And it wasn't just for locals. It was drawing in pilgrims, travelers, and just curious people from Egypt, Greece, Rome, you name it. They all came to marvel at its splendor and, of course, to seek the goddess's favor. But this temple, it was so much more than just a place of worship. It was the religious, the cultural, and the economic engine that powered the entire region. Here's a cool way to think about it. Today, something like 1.7 million tourists check out the ruins of Ephesus every year. Well, back in ancient times, you had a very similar flow of people, pilgrims, flooding into the city. And you can bet their visit had a massive impact on the local economy, pretty much the same way tourism does today. Yeah, the temple wasn't just taking in donations, it actually worked like a central bank, holding people's money and even giving out loans. It was also a huge landowner, a legal sanctuary for fugitives, and it was the heart of a massive craft industry making souvenirs for all those pilgrims. It was an absolute financial powerhouse. And the biggest party of the year was the Artemisia, a month-long festival just for her. We're talking a huge celebration with parades, games, and sacrifices that created a total economic boom for the whole city. It filled up every inn, every shop, with visitors who were ready to spend their money. So what happened to this incredibly powerful cult? And what's its legacy for us today as we're walking the exact same streets those ancient pilgrims once did? At its absolute peak during the Roman Empire, her cult was a global phenomenon. The second-century traveler Pausanias even wrote, "All cities worship Artemis of Ephesus, and individuals hold her in honor above all the gods." I mean, her fame was totally unrivaled. But its end came really fast. After the Goths destroyed the temple, the rise of Christianity in the 4th century meant the old cults were abandoned. But her loyal followers, instead of letting their sacred statues be destroyed, they carefully buried them, and they stayed hidden for over 1,500 years, until modern archaeologists finally brought them back into the light. Now they're the star exhibits at the Ephesus Museum. And this is where the story comes full circle, which is just so fascinating. See, back in the day, silversmiths in Ephesus would make these little silver shrines of Artemis for pilgrims to buy and take home. Fast forward to today, you walk through Ephesus and what do you see in the gift shops? Replicas of her unique statue. It's wild, right? Every tourist who buys one is, maybe without even realizing it, taking part in a tradition that's literally 2,000 years old. So that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. This incredibly powerful goddess, she's not worshipped anymore. Her magnificent temple is gone, and her city is a ruin, but her image endures as a cultural commodity, connecting us to this deep, ancient past. So the question is, when we buy that souvenir, what part of her story, of fertility, of protection, of wonder, are we choosing to keep alive?